Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up the football gods. Let's wake up here, guys. Wake up. How you guys doing on this Taco Tuesday? It is another great day to be alive. Weather outside here is gorgeous. I know it's hot. I know it's real hot there in Dallas and everything else. But hey, it is what it is. We choose to live where we want to live. Some of us have heat, some of us have cold, some of us have wet, some of us have dry. It's really just where you choose to live. But it is what it is. So today we've got, I got to tell you, I love this. I was getting ready here to do my morning video. I had actually gone out because my wife's car needed to be inspected. It literally hasn't moved. Her sticker was dead in February. And so I don't think she's used a tank full of gas on it and realized, my inspection sticker is dead. So I got out early, took care of that, and now I'm back to do my video. And this is amazing to me because the Dallas Cowboys, they're up early, ready for business. Mike McCarthy's already had his press conference for the day. They're an hour behind me. They've already got it done. And we're going to listen into a little bit of that after I talk about my man, Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott says he has a lot to prove. That he admits that last year, because of the contract dispute, that he got a slow start. Now, granted, he still got a lot of yards. I mean, with the offensive line we had, the offense we had, everybody ate on that offense. But the thing is it's not about necessarily having a whole bunch of yards. It's about having them in the right time. And, some people say, oh, I want to see Zeke Elliott get 2,000 yards. I don't want to see Zeke get 2,000 yards. 2,000 yards is a career killer. Guys that get 2,000 yards start declining real fast. And we need Zeke Elliott to be steady. In the same sense, people say, oh man, maybe Dak Prescott and with all these receivers, we can get the passing record. I don't want to see Dak get the passing record. I'm not trying to be a hater on either of these guys, but if your goal is to win, you can't be too reliant on the pass or too reliant on the run. You need a balance. You need to have Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard there when you get a lead that you can run the ball and run out the clock. Keep the ball out of the other guy's hands. If you're behind in the game, you need to be able to score some points quickly through the air. And more than anything else, you need to be more than one dimensional. You need to be able to run the football sometimes, pass the ball, keep people guessing, because the more effective you are at that, the more effective you will be in general. And this in lies the problem. Sometimes last year, Zeke would have a game, finally start getting it going and everything else, and it would be like, I'm winded. I need a break. And part of this is because now how football is designed. Because there's not the two-a-day practices and training camp and where you're really practicing hard during the season. Basically, when you start the season, that's about as much conditioning as you're going to get. There are only 11 padded practices during the season. That's it. And those have to be out of the way by the first 11 weeks of the season. You've got 14 padded practices in training camp. So when you hold out a training camp, you're not getting that work in. I know you're running around on the beach, but see, you got to understand there's a difference between being in shape and being in football shape. Having that burst for that 3-4 seconds and being able to take that pounding, the only way to get that shape is actually doing it and playing football. I have concerns about this season with the lack of OTAs. You've seen that freak injury yesterday of Gerald McCoy. You have to wonder if Gerald McCoy slimming down and working out and doing all his strength training, if his body, his muscles, his tendons and stuff got tight and haven't had a chance to really work out, like they normally would. We're talking about 6 months since these guys have really, well, more than that, 8 months since these guys have really been playing football. So Zeke admits that he didn't have that same burst. He didn't start the season like he wanted to, and that he's got a chip on his shoulder. Now, the bigger question is when we talk about Zeke having the coronavirus, because we forget that he was one of the early players that we found out that actually had the coronavirus. And during that time, Zeke Elliott wasn't really able to work out. And let me go ahead and bring the quote. I'd probably say I didn't work out for a month, Zeke Elliott said via USA Today, because of some of the complications of COVID uh, can cause to your organs. So you got to make sure your heart and lungs are working together before you get back out there. And it was frustrating for me for sure. And that's the thing about the coronavirus is that we don't know, and why some players that do have issues, they say that um, a healthy person can lose 25% of their lung capacity and could be deemed for long term. So this is not any joke that we're talking about here. So he had really kind of got knocked back for a loop with a month of not being able to train. Fortunately, it seems like he's okay now and getting that win and here at training camp ready to rock and roll. So I look forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do. So now let me go ahead and play some of our press conferences. See what
With
Mike
that,
McCarthy
I'll
has
take your
for us.
questions.
Coach, what can you tell us about Gerald McCoy's injury, and have you had a chance to speak with him?
Gerald McCoy's injury, very, very unfortunate. I tell you, it just, makes you sick on a personal level. Anytime you see a player go through this type of injury, it was an injury that was just, it was in the drill work, and I can't tell you, it's just what he, has meant to our D line just in the short time we've all been together. So he's a big personality, obviously an excellent football player. So, but I thought he was in good spirits, afterwards when I saw him and visited with him, and he'll tackle this injury recovery just like he has tackled everything else. So, big personality, has a good mindset based on what's in front of him. But yeah, definitely a loss and very, very, very unfortunate.
Coach, would you anticipate him still being how you'll look to fill his app going forward?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Can you just talk about the players behind him and how you look to fill his app going forward?
Well, I would just say the overall depth of the defensive line is something that we feel we're in good shape there. I think, like anything, if you look at the dynamics of your whole football team, the younger players are always going to have to step up, close the gap between the younger, less experienced players than your older, experienced players. So that to me is a challenge each and every year. When you have an injury to Gerald McCoy, it definitely heightens the awareness and the urgency of younger players stepping up and taking this opportunity to contribute and be contributors to that particular unit.
What have you seen in Gallimore and Hill the early part of camp?
I'm sorry, you're going in and out. Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. What have you seen in Gallimore and Twiston Hill in the early part of camp?
I'll tell you what, Gallimore he's doing a nice job. This is where he's being asked to do a lot of things that are new for him, which is a normal progression for most college players. So particularly just the defense he played in at Oklahoma is just what we're asking him to do up front's a little different. So very hard working, very intuitive. Has a great look in his eye, but it's coming. Tristan, I really like what he's done. I mean, since the virtual meetings, was always looking for extra work, asked a lot of questions, and I've been very impressed. We haven't had a lot of work. We just only been in pads in one day. So, but I think he's off to a good start in training camp.
We asked you about Tyrone Crawford yesterday and his versatility. Does he fit in the mix there as well at that recent week?
Tyrone Crawford in the mix of defensive tackle.
I mean, Tyrone Crawford is a multiple position player along the defensive line. So, I think he definitely has the ability to probably play 4 or 5 techniques in there. That's something that we're looking for really throughout our whole football team and he's a great example of that. So I'm fully aware of his past on where he's played and how he's played. But the flexibility that you want to have in that defensive line group, especially with just the way offenses are playing. So our rotation will be critical up front, and Ty gives us great flexibility there.
Like a lot of guys have talked about the tempo of practice and how fast things go. Is there a certain amount of plays you want to get in during the practice that you feel comfortable with, or is it just not just go and the number of plays doesn't much matter?
No, everything that we've done to this point has been scripted. So to answer your question, yes, the number of plays is a goal each and every day. So actually, I think the football team has done a good job with the tempo. I mean, it's going to get better. It's not only part of why it's how you play the game and it's why you train that way, but there's also a conditioning component to it. So the players will get used to the tempo, and it'll just make us more alert. And really the conditioning I'm looking for is more of the mental and emotional conditioning. The physical conditioning usually just takes care of itself.
Each year you see more tendon tears, ligament tears, muscle injuries early in the season, early in camp. Do you consider the Gerald McCoy situation an acclimation of football injury?
Acclimation of a football injury. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I think, in reference to the first part, it's something that's charted, no different than anything else that goes on in training camp. So I mean, your injuries and the type of injuries, you have to pay close attention to it. And a normal process is for the training staff and obviously the coaches and everybody involved, going, even Stephen Jones and I were talking about it last night, watching the injury on film. And because, we're fortunate to have the 9 cameras on the practice field to film pretty much each and every drill. So you evaluate each injury, and I think with that, you stay in tune with that, the reality of exactly what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and just, make sure you're on top of those types of things. But as far as, that particular injury, putting it into a category, I really don't have an answer there for you.
Do you anticipate Gerald McCoy maybe sticking around after he gets the surgery and maybe helping with the younger defensive linemen?
Yes, I do. Actually, Gerald, was part of our conversation, and he expressed not only a desire that he was going to be here and be a part of what we have what we've started here, and obviously he's very comfortable and this is where he wants to be. So yeah, that's exactly what he communicated to me.
Wealth of knowledge.
He talked about what you've seen from Andy Dalton so far in practice and going back to the virtual meetings.
Andy Dalton's doing an excellent job. I thought he had an exceptional practice yesterday. I think he had 3 or 4 reads that were just right on the money. So I really like what Andy brings to our football team, and I think he's an excellent addition to the quarterback room. I know I've spoken on it in the last couple of days, but it's a quarterback room that's going to produce a lot of great things. I'm confident in that. So I think dynamics of a quarterback room, pretty much like any position room, but the dynamics of that room is so important for the progress of the offense, and just the collaboration, the coordination between, Doug and Kellen. I think we're off to a great start. The quarterback school drills and what we've implemented there, all four players are doing a very good job with that. So, their workload capacity, I've been very impressed with, and so. Andy's a big part of that.
Mike, can you address the
All right, so we're going to end it right there because we still got about another 10 minutes to go on the press conference. I got to tell you, I absolutely positively love first thing in the morning as opposed to in the afternoon. He's actually giving real answers without giving too much information and stuff. Couple of notes on this. Of course, younger players will need to step up with Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy loves actually being here, part of Dallas. Look for him to be kind of that mentoring role, kind of like you see Charles Haley, who comes in and works with the guys and gives them tips and things like that. What I actually loved hearing is Gallimore during the virtual workouts and things was looking for more work and things. They're asking him to do more than what he did actually in college, but he is like a sponge soaking that up. Fortunately for Tyrone Crawford, this makes making the team better likelihood for him because he is versatile where he can play defensive end or defensive tackle, does a lot of the dirty work and things like that. And with Gerald McCoy out, definitely a guy that you're going to need in that situation. You can never have enough pass rushers. Tristan Hill is working and learning and things like that. He'll get an opportunity to try and make an impact. You know, we spent a second round pick on him. You don't want to give up on a guy just because you brought in some other people. You put draft capital in on him and you want to try and get something on that return. So that's where we are this morning. And of course, we'll see what happens today at practice. But I love this new attitude of practice where we're getting things started first thing in the morning. I love having this press conference first thing in the morning instead of late in the afternoon. Kind of a way to get your juices flowing, get excited about the day and things. So with that being said, I got to go get to my day job because I got to get going and pay my bills. I'm Mark Holmes, and as always, I want to thank you guys for being here and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you soon.